I can do this.
It's not just
We have the technology.
it's a journey we share. We're always trekking, full of the cheer. It's not just a show, it's a journey we share. We're always trekking, full of the cheer. Always trekking, full of the cheer.
Now that they've got the new, VO3 and the new Sora 2 out, maybe
Mhm.
we should look at redoing some of those those video clips for that. So, we don't have the weird twin dudes in there and
Two
shit
twin
like
guys.
that. Yeah.
Actually,
But
I was going to say the same thing. One of the things I'd like to do when I get the new laptop is I'd like to go ahead and take some of because there's some of them that actually can build assets. Will actually, take like a blueprint and actually render out like like a thing in
Mhm.
3D. And so I was thinking, hey, that'd be nice to just drop that in and see if it could run with it and do it,
Well,
and
do
then
that, and see if you can play around. Maybe do a come up with a different song. Make it
Mm.
yours.
Oh yeah,
Because I just threw some stuff together. Let me check and make sure my focus is good. All right,
yeah, you
good to
look
go.
good. You're nice and crisp.
Well, my camera has this
Mhm.
problem where it will constantly be searching for focus. So
Mhm.
if I don't, normally what I'll do is I'll take it and I'll get it a global focus and I'll get it focused on me just fine, and then I'll turn off the autofocus because otherwise it'll constantly be snapping in the focus. And if you watch, you can actually see it's a very, hold on, I'll show you. It's very annoying. And
You know how
there's
many
nothing
way to
I
lock
don't.
your focus at a distance? Like
Well, you can
in
you can see it here.
Mhm.
Focus, then it'll start. Yeah, it'll drop and then focus and then drop.
Mhm.
It's a very
Yeah, you're
slight thing.
getting smudgy. Yeah, you're smudgy right now.
Yeah.
You're a painting, sir.
So what I'll do is I'll just take it here, so it's nice and focused, and then I'll turn off the autofocus, and then we're good to go.
Yeah,
Uh, Tech issues. What can I say?
yeah.
Um,
Welcome to the
but
21st century.
other than that, we are live on
Mhm.
the on the YouTube, so that's all good to go.
And by
And
the way,
if you
this is
want,
Ash.
oh
This is
hi,
Ash,
I'm Ash,
and this is
and
Sean.
this is Sean, whichever direction you're in, and
Sean.
yeah,
Ash.
you're in that direction. Actually, you're in that direction, uh, technically. Now, and now, if you want to, what you can do is you can go to the Beowulf Podcast YouTube
Mhm.
page. You
Mhm.
can grab that URL that's streaming right now. All right.
Okay.
And then you can share that onto your Facebook page. Those are
Nice.
things that you can do. And that's one way that you can get it to roll over to the Facebook. Just a thought.
Okay.
Um,
Go ahead and do that right now while we're talking. So you've
yeah.
been undergoing discovery therapy, from what I understand.
It's not discovery therapy, it's discovery torture. It is asinine. Oh my God. I swear they say trust and family more than a Fast and Furious movie franchise. All right. It is it's horrible. All right.
Yeah, I'm thinking of that meme. He may have been your papa, but he may have
He
been
wouldn't
may have been
him.
your father, but he's not your papa or whatever the hell it was.
And it's just and literally, okay, like one of the things that I absolutely, and this is something that also is in Strange New Worlds that I am not
Mhm,
liking about Strange New Worlds
mhm.
is the amount of lip that the different, lieutenants and ensigns are giving to the captain sitting in the captain's chair. All right. Where they'll, yeah, well, good luck on that one. Or, oh, well, you try, what the hell is this lip you're giving? All right. No, 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 no. I mean, and I understand that in this new Star Trek that they're doing, which is great. We need more people in. I don't have a problem with that. I understand that there is a need to have more empathy because that's the new generation. They're more
Right.
empathetic, which is great. Right? Not a
Mhm.
problem. but there is still a certain level of military professional decorum that is expected, especially when you are driving around a multi-trillion dollar ship,
Oh yeah.
right, through the universe. There, you're not going to be as lippy as that, okay?
One of the things that I have a problem with, and I'm gonna just straight up say it. If you were actually doing what Burnham did at the beginning of the show, where she basically just goes ahead and goes, "Oh, I really need to take this ship over so I can go ahead and shoot the Klingons rather than have what the captain's doing."
Where she mutinies and then
Yeah,
causes a war to happen.
yeah,
She never would have seen the outside of a brig. All right.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's in a lovely, shiny, happy future where they just don't take you out and shoot you. Okay.
yeah. I mean, pretty much. I mean, the whole thing to me that's ridiculous is, um, I don't care if she was the first officer or the galley chef. Yeah, you shot the captain. Like, what the hell?
You
Like,
shot the captain and then you started a a war.
yeah,
And not just, ooh, we're gonna, the US and Mexico are having a tiff. All right. I'm talking a full on, this is the end of our species as we know it war with
yeah.
a culture that wanted it.
Let's go over to the vicious shark, and then hit it in the nose with my pinky.
Yeah, basically.
This could turn out well.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Burnham is, and I mean, granted, this new, younger generations are looking for something with more empathy, but
Mhm.
this is too much. I mean, it's a soap opera. Let's just
Yeah,
face it. It's a soap
it is.
opera.
It is.
And
It's a valid
that's
argument.
that's that's all there. I mean, I'm trying to get through the soap opera. I'm scrubbing through it too. All right. As I'm watching it, I'm just sitting there going, okay, and when I can tell they're getting into, soap opera stuff. All right.
Hmm.
When they're gonna start talking, I'm yeah, it's and yeah, okay. Why the hell, all right? Why the hell did her mom end up in this ultra hardcore Romulan faction? And not only she's the de facto leader of it, all right? Of this matriarchal, people who are, basically, witnesses and lawyers, all right?
Hmm. Yeah,
And it, oh,
one step removed from it. Yeah.
and how did her human ass end up in that? I mean, if you want to talk about some sick, okay, first off, the Vulcans would not have enjoyed it, and the Romulans are even more, you know, phobic, xenophobic than the
Towards
Vulcans are.
humans. Yeah,
Yeah,
they do
precisely
not like
towards humans.
humans.
Yeah, no, there's no way, no way, and literally, and she not only shows up, but she gets in and rises to the top in what, a year?
Yeah, I mean, she actually is there seemingly like less than a year. It seemed like to me,
Yeah,
from what I
it's
gathered.
just, it's just way too plot armor. It's just way
Yeah,
too plot armor. All
it's
right.
narrative convenience. It's basically we went from point A to point F. And we skipped all these other steps in between because it wasn't convenient. I mean,
And
that's really what it boils
why did
down
the
to.
Romulans all go and end up on Vulcan, and then they all decided to change the name of the place? All
You
right.
got me.
And that all happened, in the last 120 years, which is technically, to a Vulcan lifespan, that's like 30 years.
Hmm.
Yeah. I, I mean, it's just, I'm really thinking that whoever wrote this never watched the show. I mean,
I think they may have
went
watched
out
it
and they
one
bought it.
time cursorily while they were half awake.
No, I'm sure if you go into the writer's room, there's going to be one book on the shelf, and it's going to be Star Trek for Dummies. All right. And that's the only book that they have. All right. Like they gotta have the cliff notes of Star Trek. All right.
Mhm.
Written by somebody who was in the 501st. And then it's just it's
Tell me
it's
how you really
not-
feel.
it is not a good show. I'm sorry. They seriously, I mean, and that's one of the things is I don't remember if in the later, I mean, have they basically come out and said that it's not in the main timeline? Please tell me.
No,
they said
it's supposed to be in the main timeline. It's supposed to be everything that's in Discovery and Strange New Worlds is supposed to be in the main timeline. But we've had this discussion before. We're like,
no.
really?
No, I'm gonna go with Lower Decks, where there's like 14 bazillion different realities, and just say this is one of those off to the side. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
right.
I think that's a safe thing to say because this goes off into another fandom, but I'm just going to do it real quick.
I think this is the reality where we have
Hmm.
Lieutenant Kim. Okay, I think this is that abhorrent reality with Lieutenant Kim.
So he got his extra pip, but it's a slightly
Yeah,
slightly degraded version of reality.
yeah, it's a tarnished tip. It's a tarnished tip.
So the Enterprise has a little bit more corrosion and a little bit more wear and tear on it in spots where it normally wouldn't. But otherwise, it's bright and shiny. What I was going to say is that
what the hell is with this whole Doctor Who TARDIS? Whenever I swear, whenever they're riding the turbo lift and it's going through, there's this whole freaking reality going on. That's how you know it's not real, because they're definitely traveling through another dimension when they're on the turbo lift. All right.
See, this is one of my things about Discovery is the technology is so completely disparate from the original series, and even from Picard or Next Generation. It's like, my God, how the hell are you sticking all this in your ship? But the other thing is, why? One of my favorite things about Discovery, in terms of like, okay, you're making my brain hurt, is the way it does the mycelial
Why isn't
network.
everybody flung out to the edges?
Yeah, I mean the spinny, rotating thing.
Yeah.
I mean, why? I mean,
Why?
this is basic concepts in engineering. Why make it more complicated than it needs to be? Why do you add more parts? Why do you make something spin, rotate, and all this other stuff? Granted, yeah, it may look cool, but it has no logic to it.
It's like the detached nacelles that they have
Yeah.
in the future.
Mhm.
Because it's supposed to make them more maneuverable and improve efficiency. How? Just because you did something, you can't just say it automatically. How?
There's actually, I'm not arguing for it, so don't take it as me doing it. Please don't. But the logic is that when we're talking on Voyager, to sort of use this analogy, like this is the primary hull, and you have the nacelles. They started talking about how
I understand Voyager using it in order to alter the shape of the warp bubble. I understand that. All right.
Mhm.
But detached?
The detached doesn't make any sense. The thing I think they were trying to work with is it's an anime influence, because I'm going to harken back to another anime, which is Macross 2, where they actually are now getting them in real life, in which they had the Veritech fighters, and the Veritech fighters would have these gun pods that would orbit the Veritech fighter, and they were slave to it. They'd fly around and sync with it. The thing was, they weren't connected, but they were fire linked. So I think the nacelles are sort of an outgrowth of that idea. The problem is, and we've discussed this before, just because it looks cool doesn't mean it makes sense. Because the thing that actually sort of buoys in my mind is at some point in time I read there was an idea that you could change the shape of the nacelle in terms of where it was positioned. In fact, I actually think it's in the Star Trek Next Generation technical manual. I think Sternbach talks about it, where they could change the way the nacelle was angled and literally change the way the ship is traveling by shifting the nacelles a particular way. So the ship could literally sidestep like this because the nacelles are going this way, but the main body is still going. Okay, well, you could, but don't see the relative use of it. I mean, or the relative.
And they definitely don't utilize it in the show.
No.
All right.
Other than to cause trouble.
I'm still irritated by the whole freaking blast door on the freaking Enterprise. All right.
Oh yeah.
That, I mean, I
The
talked
photon
about
torpedo that was very underwhelming.
Yeah, it'll blow off it'll blow it, out 4 decks. You all right?
Should have ripped the hole right open.
You drop one blast door, and now it doesn't do anything.
No.
All right, it makes a little hole. All right, and why didn't you make the whole ship out of blast doors? All right, if this blast door literally could be 1.5 meters away from the torpedo and tank it. All right, which even worse than that, the blast door had a window in it. All right, the blast door had a window in it, so Pike could watch the Admiral, stoically take a torpedo up the ass. All right, because she had to face away from it. All right, all right, and no, and also you got a whole ship full of non-coms. What the fuck is the captain and the admiral doing there, trying to work on this stuff? I mean, that's one of the problems that I have with this new. I mean, one thing that Next Gen and all of them got right, all right, was sending crew off to do things. All right. I mean, hell, they even got that right in Galaxy Quest. All right. When Tony goes, oh, that's thick, and I'll get some of my boys to work on it. All right. And he even is talking about having his crew work on stuff.
And he even turns around and goes, you got it right. You got it right. They're like,
yeah. It's I mean, there's just and that's one of the problems of this is, once again, it harkens back to one of the first these podcasts that we did, where I said that they have completely misrepresented the size of Starfleet, and that includes the number of people on board these ships, because looking at the show, you would think there are 83 people on the ship. All right. And that's broken into 4 shifts. Okay. I don't know. I mean, you would think there's nobody else on this ship. Yeah.
They basically handle it the same way they did Next Generation. Next Generation actually made kind of sense, because as large as the Galaxy class was. Yeah. And then they just sort of followed on and just went, well, we'll just use the same numbers. And it was like, but these ships have a lot less space and a lot more crew for the volume of area, or for the area covered. It's like, it's a television show. I'm not going to argue against somebody going, well, it's just a television show, but it should still use some brains.
It's a television show that prides itself on being science fiction, not science fantasy.
Right.
All right. And where in science fantasy you have 2 bachelors on a space Winnebago, all right, who don't even get a bathroom installed until the dude's princess wife makes them get a bathroom installed. All right. Who the hell doesn't put a bathroom on a ship, especially even if the ship, the Millennium Falcon, is originally designed to be a cargo hauler, right? It's a cargo
Yep.
hauler. All right. Even a Peterbilt semi with a sleeper cab, even that one is gonna have a chemical toilet in there for emergencies. All right.
hmm
You will put that in before you put in the hollow chest table. That's all I'm saying. All right.
I will say the saddest part, and this is my own personal point of view, talking about TV shows. I really love Andor because of the realism that I see in Andor, in terms of how they tell a story.
I hear that a lot.
And I really like that they portray humans as humans and not some sort of like, hey, you know what? I'm this hero and I'm gonna save your life. No, people aren't like that. Not in real life. They don't do that. They have their own motivations. They have their own goals. They want to be. They want to be noble. They want to be honorable, but not everyone is able to measure up.
Yeah.
And some people just, for whatever reason, decide they want to go this other path because it suits their needs. Andor actually really well really well tells that story. I really like that. And in terms of science, it actually does a decent job. It does a better job than Discovery did, in my opinion, which is sad because it's a science fantasy based TV show. It's set in Star Wars, but it does a better job than the show that's supposed to be based on more science fiction. So, and the fact that they are now saying, Star Trek United, which is the sequel to Enterprise that they're actually talking about and actually producing, they're saying, well, we want to make it like Andor. I'm like,
You mean like Star Trek's supposed to be? Here's my own problem with Star Trek United. All right, which is the one, for those who do not know, that is the proposed show with Scott Bakula as the president of the United Federation. All right. And I can understand, all right, if they're basically looking to make the West Wing, all right, with Scott Bakula as the head of the Federation, that makes sense. All right. But, Andor isn't that. All right.
Yeah.
Andor, from what I understand, is smaller stories. All right. Where, West Wing was bigger stories. And it's I personally think they need to go back to smaller stories. I've said this again and again. They need to go back and actually tell something that, there's a reason that some of the favorited episodes of DS9 were the ones with Quark. All right. And the Fringy, because those were small stories again. All right. For the most part, the fate of the galaxy, or the fate of the quadrant did not rest on everything that Quark did. And don't get me wrong, he was still impactful, but and that's the reason, in the upcoming, and I'm gonna try to, with the upcoming RPG that I'm gonna be running, and I'm gonna be, trying to live stream, is I'm gonna try to bring it back down to small stories. And and that's the reason that the ship that they're going to be on is going to be a small ship. It's going to be, basically just a smidge bigger than the Millennium Falcon. And they are basically, I'm going to have them on a PT boat, and they're going to be doing PT boat stuff. I'm going to, think about, back, when we were kids, when we were little bitty kids, and they had all the shows from, that were based around World War II. All right.
Yeah.
You had, what was that? Black Sheep. All right.
Squadron. Yeah.
Yeah. The Black Sheep Squadron, stuff like that. It's that smaller stuff that, even though the stories can still be told, and they might have some small periphery impact with the larger overall arc of what's going on, but in the long run of things, if theoretically, and that happened even in those shows. One of those guys gets shot and killed, still goes on. And it's not the end of everything, which every one of these, almost every episode of everything that they're putting out now, if our heroes don't do everything exactly right, the entire universe is going to go down the crapper. They
Mhm.
can't keep having that.
Yeah.
It always, that's one thing that always gets me in these shows like this, is because I watch them, I'm like, these people would have had a complete nervous breakdown. All right. My
Mhm.
wife, she's always watching stuff like Grey's Anatomy and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, if that was real, that entire hospital would have been broken apart, and those people would all be under so much therapy after just the second season. All right. The amount of crap that they go through, and now they're on season 20 some odd of day after day of this stuff. At some point somebody's got to stand back and go, what the hell is happening with these people? We need to figure out what's going on and break this up, because this is weird. And then you also have those of us who are watching. How many times can we, there's only so much that we can invest ourselves into a character in a story before you just get tired of seeing them do the same thing over and over.
Mhm.
Save the world again, save the world again, save the universe. All right. I think, but, and then the just talk. Okay. The best line of all of Discovery, the best
Mhm.
line was, one of the last times I saw um, Emperor Georgia, whatever the heck her name is. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Giorgio.
Yeah, Emperor Giorgio. It was, I wanted to applaud, because at one point she looks at Burnham and says, "You need to learn when the hell to just shut the hell up. You need to learn when to shut the hell up." And then turns around and goes and does her stuff. I'm like, oh God, thank God somebody finally said it to her. Of course, she didn't listen. All right.
Does she ever listen?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the
Yeah,
question.
and that was somebody in the writer's room who was like, I'm tired of these people. You need to learn to shut the hell up. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's exactly what that was.
I'm going to go ahead and posit this. I personally think that Discovery got in its own way of trying to tell its own stories, because it didn't tell the story of a science vessel. It told the story of a Neo flagship of the Federation that was uber important because of the spore drive, and you had all these things going on that made it like this focus. This is like super important ship. Okay, well, Voyager had its own reasons for being important, but it was never like the flagship. It wasn't like somebody going, "We have gifted this ship with this special feature that only it has." No, it was just stuck out on the edge of forever and was going to take forever to get home.
Yeah.
It was basically
Well,
Battlestar Galactica in space.
we do have to say that they did have the ultra rare photon torpedo replicator.
I'm telling you, on the later ships, on the later Beowulf, what I'm going to do, photon torpedo launcher, replicator. Be like, "Captain, we're out of torpedoes." Like, hit the duplicate button. I'm not going to listen to this story.
I think they should, it should just be like, remember when Lilu Dallas has the microwave and she just puts a couple of things in it and puts it in and ding and comes out and chicken good. All right.
Mhm.
We need to have little things like that for torpedoes, but I don't care. Shape them like burritos. I don't care. All right. And you just have like a whole thing of Tostinos frozen burrito torpedoes. All right.
Mhm.
And instead of quantum, you're just like, load the chili cheese. Oh no, not the chili cheese, sir. No, do it. Give them the guac. And
Well, the thing that also gets me is Voyager was the first Federation ship in recent memory. Let's put it that way, that we
Yeah.
know of that were armed with nukes. So they had or cobalt bombs or whatever it was.
I would say,
Tricobalt devices. They blew up the
yeah.
caretaker's array with it. So, I'm like, if you got alternate weapons to supply, why don't you load some nukes into your photon torpedo launcher? It's still a rail gun. I mean, it'll still shoot. It may not
Well,
go as
yeah.
fast as warp speed through space, but
Just
still
take
makes
some
a
of that
boom.
antimatter you got going. Just put a little bit of that at the end of a test tube and fling it out the airlock. That'll be great. All right.
The thing
No.
that often makes me laugh is that Star Trek came out with railguns, photon torpedo launchers, well before almost any other TV show. The show that actually made use of them all the time, and everybody's like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Willis?" Is Battlestar Galactica, not the first one. We're talking the second one, because it's like when the Cylons and Galactica are fighting, they're firing like railgun
Mhm.
rounds. And I mean, like, the way the ship should operate later on, I mean, early on, yeah, you might be like pop, 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 pop. But much later on into the future, it should be like, okay, we've got the machine gun version of the photon torpedo launcher. Let's see what happens. And it should be like, and people will be like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah, just
there's the
put that
Federation
on a
laying
Gatling.
down the law. Yeah,
Put a Gauss, what is it? Gauss 7 Gatling.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And we're
Or
still like in the 31st century. Oh, we're gonna fire some photons. Pew, pew,
I
pew. Like,
I remember
okay.
there was I forget the name of the book series. I forget the name of the book series. I was really into sci-fi military stuff and was reading that
Mhm,
heavy about 15 years ago. But there was this one book series, of course, the whole fighter
mhm,
group, or the whole fleet traipsing from one place to another. But anyways, so they're in a
mhm,
battle against a foe, all right,
mhm,
and they they have FTL, but only by the one big ship has it, the big carrier. All the other
mhm.
ships, the best they can do is they can accelerate to like 0.99 C. All right.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
and they had, it was a cool thing. They had some gravity manipulation, but basically they just created a gravitational point ahead of themselves and just fell into it. All right,
Mhm,
that kind of stuff. But I remember at one point, one of the fighters, all right, they're like, okay, the bad guys are over there. You know, what the hell can we do? And from the other
mhm,
side of the system, they just accelerated as hard and as fast they could, close to getting up to like 0.95 C or something like that, and
mhm,
then they just dumped their ballast. All right, they turned off the little thing and just dumped their ballast, which was sand, and
mhm,
just scattershot sand out there, and then slowed down and started heading back. And meanwhile, the baddies are there with their shields and everything, like, come on, bring it on. And just having 50 kilograms of sand, where each particle hitting has this, at relativistic velocities, just completely shredded them. Why don't they use something
mhm.
smart like that?
That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's
I
actually a
mean, that
point
was
I totally
like
agree with, because
basic
you could do
physics.
some really devastating tactics with that. You could
Yeah,
do, like, not just do a sandcaster where you just drop it in front of them as a dispersal sand of one shot, but make it where it's like one wave, second wave, third
oh yeah,
wave, because as you're plowing, and goad them into jumping into
yeah,
light speed. Because what makes it hilarious is, and actually, I will give Terry whatever his name, Matalis or Metalis. He's the showrunner for Picard. And he actually talks about something I talked about on Trek BBS, which is Federation ships should have on their navigational deflector assembly, they should ramp up, power it up, because as you move through space, the particles that are out there, like, just bebopping around, the density may not be very much, but as you go faster and faster, they're coming faster and faster. And eventually you have to essentially be hitting
if you
it with
remember
enough force to block it.
if you remember, my head cannon my
Mhm.
headcanon as to the streaks when they're doing warp.
Mhm.
All right,
Mhm.
that's not stars going past. Those are microscopic, particles or whatever, in
Mhm.
open space that are being deflected around and sliding off of the shielding and stuff like
Deflector
that.
array. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what that is. Those aren't stars
makes
going
sense.
past because they're not going fast enough for that. Even at warp 7 or 8 or whatever like that, stars aren't going to be moving like that. You're not
They
going
would
fast
only
enough
you'd
for
only see some monumental, like far distant ones. You might see move more than the
that.
close
Yeah,
ones. The close ones are going to be
yeah.
negligible.
You're not going to be streaking. You're not going to be
Yeah,
streaking. Yeah. So
yeah.
that was always my headcanon on that. Okay, another thing, another bitch I have about Discovery. All right, this burn. All right,
Hmm.
all right. The burn happened because some infant got angry on a dilithium planet and wailed out, and so then it fucked up everything for
Psychically,
everybody. Yeah.
make sure you mention psychically because you got to mention that
Yeah. Mention what?
psychically that it was psychic
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
psychic
Psychically
powers.
destroyed all dilithium except for the dilithium with them.
Yeah,
All right.
on that one.
Where he was at, that dilithium was fine. All right. It's all the distant dilithium. All right. But
Everybody else die.
so nobody could travel, nobody could do the warp anymore without all ultra rare, precious dilithium that they were able to find. Right.
Hmm.
What happened? What happened to the Romulan, you know, singularity drive? That right there tells me whoever wrote this stuff never watched it because the Romulans used a singularity drive. All
Hmm.
right. They would have been just fine. And haha, there's a whole bunch of them on Vulcan who knew all about that singularity drive crap. All right.
I would go further. I would say that the impulse powered warp drive is completely legitimate
It
because
is.
you have the little shuttle pod in lower decks. If you remember, Mariner gets picked up and they
Mhm.
take off to go to Starbase 80. They don't get in a full size shuttle. They're a little bitty shuttle pod. You're going to tell me that thing has the matter antimatter warp core? Where? Where are you going to stick it?
Or the simple fact that in the original, Earth Romulan War, all
Hmm.
right, one of the things was that saved Earth's ass was the
Hmm.
fact that the Romulans didn't have FTL. They didn't have a dilithium powered FTL. All
Hmm.
right, they were
And they
stuck
still
with
didn't by toss. They still didn't. They
yeah
still
they,
didn't.
they were stuck with a impulse warp, which was slower. All right,
Hmm.
so there's impulse warp. All right, and
Hmm.
then there's the singularity drive that
Hmm.
the artificial singularity drive that the Romulans perfected. Matter of fact, that's all baked into them, with their perfection of the singularity drive and being able to warp all the forces and gravitational, all the stuff like that to make it,
Hmm.
is the basis of their cloaking technology. All
Hmm.
right. No, whoever wrote Discovery never watched Trek.
You know what really should have happened in future history, right? Talking about how things really should have played out. Once all the warp cores went, then the Romulans and the Gazenti, because they have similar technology to the Romulans, they went a slightly different way.
Yeah.
That is basically gravity based. They should have been like, hey, guess what's back on the table, guys? Humans.
Yep. And
And then
everything
the
else.
next thing you know, Gazenti, Romulans, everybody's having a going to
Yeah.
town on the Federation. I
Well,
could completely see that.
granted, all those ships would have gone tits up. All right.
Hmm.
Granted. All right. But
Hmm.
that would have put everybody back 50 years.
Yeah.
All right. 50 years. And, there had been a whole restructuring, but
Hmm.
it would not have been, oh, we had to wait for Discovery to come and save us. All right.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It
Which
was one of the big
also,
sticking points to the 31st century stories I didn't really particularly like. I thought Savior complex time was a little bit over the top again with,
It is.
Burnham is the only one who can save us.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely trying to turn her into Star Trek Jesus. But
Yeah.
and also another thing is, we're all about infinite, possibilities through infinite diversity, right? All
Mhm.
right. Why are we still laboring under the thing that when they show fights, men
Mhm.
fight men, women fight women, all right? And the only time that women and men fight, the women have to win. I mean, that's been going on for decades now, all
Mhm.
right? And it's just it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I want to say that I think one of the funniest things that you actually brought up, and it was sticking in my mind for a long period of time,
What's
was
that?
that if they had impulse power warp drive, or they had, singularity drive, or whatever, then a new order would have been established. Essentially, somebody would have went, "Hey, you know what? We understand that you guys don't have, dilithium powered warp drive anymore. Let's go ahead and develop some other technology because, dilithium seems like a really bad thing to try and be dependent on. So why don't we try something else?" And that's
Oh,
how humans always work. We're innovative. If something doesn't work, we shift and do something else.
and another thing is, all right, maybe I haven't gotten far enough into the Discovery. I'm on season 4 right now, I think it is. All right.
Okay.
And trying to stop nosebleeds every time I'm watching it because God, it hurts me. I mean, I'm like, oh, this is what an aneurysm feels like. I'm not even smelling toast. What the hell? But okay, in season 2, Tilly, who I got tons of issues with Tilly. All right, like how can she be like this? I mean, okay, totally awkward individual, fine. All right.
Mhm.
But then when it came to the one party where, everybody, she's trying to get, Burnham and the one, a dude to hook
Got it.
up, all
Yeah.
of a sudden now she's a suave player. All right. What the hell? All right. Someone who's so
Inconsistent
socially
writing again.
awkward, she can't carry a conversation with herself is all of a sudden suave. What the hell? All right. And don't even get me started on the fact that the gender neutral individual is explaining, all right, explaining pronouns to the gay guy. All right. Don't even start me on that one. All right.
The thing I actually wonder is, and somebody actually did point this out on some forum at some point in time, is that they thought what had happened was Tilly originally didn't have those lines, and they didn't have whatever actor or whatever character available to do the scene. So they just swapped Tilly in and had them take over that role. And so the verbiage, the dialogue, and the acting are not suitable to the character, but
No.
it's what they did because essentially it's like, well, we have to have this scene because it connects the two elements together. And I'm like, well, maybe you should have thought about that before you filmed the scene a little bit more ahead of time, like 2 weeks ago, before you actually got to this point where you're actually filming it.
Yeah.
Um, but the other element that sticks out in my mind is I really like Reno as the engineer. I really like the comedian who plays Reno.
What's her
For her name
name?
is Tig something. Anyway,
Tig. That's her name. Tig.
yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoy her. I really like her sort of grounded, sort of, engineering is kind of like medical. You try and fix stuff, and you're
Yeah.
basically looking at them like, hey, what's wrong with this thing? How
Hmm.
can I fix it? And, I'm going to fix it as best I can. If I can't fix it really well, I'll do whatever I can. It may not work for a long period of time, but I'll do what I can.
You know,
And
go ahead.
I was going to say, I personally find that kind of common sense sort of attitude towards trying to fix things if you're in Starfleet, actually, I find reassuring that somebody went,
Hmm.
hey, maybe this is how this should be. And I like her sense of humor and I like the way she's written. I personally like that character a lot.
I like her. I mean, I like that character a lot as well.
Mhm.
I mean, to me, it's one of the best grounded characters in the
Mhm.
whole, franchise. But that also plays on the writer's thoughts that
Mhm.
the way to be witty is to
Mhm.
cut each other down. All
Yeah,
right.
I would agree.
Because they are constantly cutting each other.
Mhm.
And there's all, I mean, it, and okay, why in this future can't they just call each other? Why is it always, Captain, you need to come over here? No, tell me what the hell. All right, put it into a report and shoot it off to me. I'm busy. All right. Why does it always drop everything and go to another part of the ship where we have to travel through the TARDIS infrastructure? All right, in our strange, Willy Wonka mobile as it's going. I mean, that is a horrible. I mean, whoever designed that, I'm sorry. That
They just wanted to use the extra budget for the special effects for the CGI. That's really what it boiled down to.
No, this is the problem. This is the problem when CGI gets cheaper than doing things in real. And so
Mhm.
they just say, throw something CGI that looks cool and don't worry about making anything in reality. I mean,
Yeah, I
how,
agree.
I
That's
mean,
probably what it is.
except for their things that they're, working on, the things right
Mhm.
there, how much of those, are sets are just straight green screen?
Well, in Discovery, was a lot of it was actually real sets. I mean, I would
And that,
say the
right.
preponderance of them were generally are. This Strange New Worlds is like the hallway is real. The bridge, I think, a good percentage of it is,
Hmm.
but engineering is completely, except for the reactor shaft, which is in the center of the set, and some of the consoles. Everything is like blue screen or green screen,
And that,
and
I'm
so is the
sorry,
cargo deck, and so is the shuttle bay.
there's space is at a premium when you're on any kind of vessel, be
Hmm.
it sea or space, especially space. All right,
Hmm.
space is at a premium. You would not have all that open space.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just ungodly the amount of open space that they have.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just one of those silly things. I'm sorry, but yeah,
Okay.
I really wanted to hammer home, and that was one of my big complaints was what happened to the singularity drive because as soon as that dawned on me, I was like, am I remembering the singularity drive wrong? Did it take dilithium? I had to start looking it up and doing my research. I'm like, no, if I can remember this, the person who's had more concussions than I care to think about, if I
Mhm.
can remember this, then
Yeah.
somebody who's actually involved in the production, did no one ever say, well, hold on.
Well, that's
This,
why that's one of the other problems. They don't have a continuity person anymore. Like, I think they had continuity. I think Susan Sackett worked on TNG until like the fourth or the fifth season.
mm-hmm,
So they had a continuity person who basically sat down and went, well, this is what I know, and this is how it is. And I think they borrowed Okuda or Sternbach. Guys, if I'm wrong, you can hang me out to dry if you want to. But
yeah,
from what I understand, Okuda was an advisor in that regard, and so was Sternbach for the most part on terms of like technology for many of the TV shows. Um, I did eventually want to get back to Star Trek United, and I put a pin in that for right now, because there is part of Star Trek United I was really happy to hear about.
okay,
But anyway, getting back to this whole thing with continuity, once you got to Enterprise, they pretty much got rid of the continuity expert or whoever was doing advising on it. And it's not to diss Enterprise totally, but it's one of the problems where you end up with story elements that don't necessarily make a lot of sense at times. And the problem is now we have the same problem in Star Trek Strange New Worlds because there was an episode this last season where they had The ship that looked like the XCV-330 Enterprise, that was the, human
Yeah.
ship that was secretly, killing other ships.
Mhm.
It shouldn't exist because of the episode in Picard, which said, "Oh, well, we discovered how to save the Earth by going to Europa. We found this bacteria that helped us save the planet." But these people left Earth after that, and we're like, "Woo, we're not going to be able to save the planet, so we're going to go out here and do what we're doing with our ship, and go out into the final frontier and kill people." That's what humans do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, they basically, yeah, they ditched out. Yeah, that was an issue there. I mean, they it's been my lament again and again that they have this huge IP, all right, this
mhm.
huge property, and instead of instead of exploring all the different aspects of the property and everything that's available in the property, they just
They just
keep
keep coming
going
back.
back and farming the same stuff. They're like, okay, we know this worked, we know everybody liked this, so guess what, Spock's parents ran an orphanage, all right, he's going to have 28 brothers and sisters, all right.
Star Trek Orphanage.
Yeah, we never mentioned them before, but they're all there, all right, because it's like in this one,
Oh no, I actually can see
it,
this stuff. I
it's
can see the opening for it.
like at no point, in no point in Strange New Worlds or in
Uh-huh.
Discovery have we heard about Spock's other brother.
In Strange New Worlds, they made an allusion to it. They actually did.
They did. I
I
didn't
will.
catch it.
There's the episode where they have the woman who had her husband, who was a Vulcan. He passed away, and she basically gets the crew to believe her that she's this nice humanitarian person,
Mhm.
and she more or less gets the crew to go to a place where the Orion pirates can board the ship and take it over. And
Right.
then Spock has to basically kiss Christine Chapel and break up with T'Pring. And that episode, at the very very tail end of it, you see this person who's in prison, and he has long hair and he has Vulcan ears. That's supposed to be Cybok.
Okay. Now, do they actually say it, or are we hopefully thinking it?
It's strongly alluded to it that it's him. They don't actually use his name,
How do they
but
allude to it?
I would have to
At some
watch it
point they
again.
go,
It's been a
I
hot
wish
minute
my
since I
younger
watched it.
brother
So
was here.
it's been a hot minute since I've watched it. I will get
Yeah.
back with you on that, but
All right.
I'm pretty confident in saying that. I'm not likely to go off on a limb. And go, well, it could be him. I'm pretty sure that was what they
Well,
were
and
trying to
it
allude
may
to.
very well be, but Burnham never mentioned him.
Yeah,
All right.
true. Completely true. A completely accurate statement. Have you seen the episode with the Guardian of Forever? I did want to ask you that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what
Yeah,
was your take?
that's the episode where the Emperor tells Burnham, "You need to learn to shut the hell up."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I figured you had. What was your take, or how was your feelings on the Guardian of Forever? Because actually, I thought they handled the inclusion of the Guardian of Forever pretty well, considering.
I was not opposed to it. I was not opposed to it because, like, one of the things that always weirded me out playing Star Trek Online
Hmm.
was the amount that they had, you know, that what was it, Guardian of Forever? All right, the
Hmm.
amount that they had a storyline around that. When I was like,
Hmm.
hold on, that was one freaking episode in TOS. All right. All
Hmm.
right. And then they brought it into Strange New Worlds, and no, they didn't. No,
Hmm.
that wasn't the crossover one. But no, um, I was not opposed to it because one of I think that the Guardian itself handled the
Hmm.
whole aspect of you know what is time and stuff like that, and
Hmm.
and did everything I thought very well. All right,
Yeah.
so I had no problems with it. Plus, in my opinion, that really didn't have a big pull on anything. I
Yeah,
mean, oh,
I
and go ahead. And another problem I had. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say that actually I found that it actually fit my personal headcanon thing
All right.
with the Guardian and with all the time war nonsense because, you know, people are like, we're going back in time, we're going to change this. There's got to be repercussions. And essentially, all the stuff we keep seeing happening, like all this different stuff with the timeline, we've discussed it before ad
Yeah.
nauseum, like, just pick a storyline and just stick to it. But no, we got to change it all the time. Oh, well, we went back in time. Originally this is what happened in the past, but now we're seeing it this way. It's like, and then he talks about how people were going and, trying to kill each other, going back in time. And we have it in Strange New Worlds. Romulan goes back in time to kill Khan, Noonien, and Singh. And he's
Mhm.
not even in the right year anymore. He's in
Exactly.
like.
Yeah.
It's a perfect example of why time wars are bad for the timeline, folks. Don't do it. Say no to
Mhm.
time wars.
Yeah. No. It is. Yeah. I really didn't, have any issue. I had something that I was like, oh, this also irritated me, and I can't remember what it was.
Was
It
it?
was, oh, dude. All right. So we all
Mhm,
remember the original TOS pilot. All right.
mhm.
With what was it? The menagerie. All right.
Right. Well,
All
the
right. The
cage.
cage.
Yeah, the
The cage.
menagerie. Same
Yeah.
show.
Synonymous. Um. All right. And so in Discovery, all right,
Mhm,
they're alluding to it. All right.
mhm,
In that second season, they're all like, hey, and and Spock went there and Burnham went there so that they, could get his head straight and all the stuff like that. All right.
mhm,
And the one a human female that was, inappropriately put together, she's there.
mhm,
All right.
mhm,
And then she pops up onto Pike's, into his ready room, and he's
mhm.
all like, oh, straight up love of my life, here you are. He's all, totally zoned into her. What happened to his captain chick that he's all in love with?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Sailor in every port. All right, I mean, Mr. Sailor has a girl in every port. All right, this,
So
I mean, the,
you,
and
you got to wonder how he really feels about Captain Patel.
yes,
Um,
that's my whole point. Him and Captain Patel. I mean, what's actually going on there? How does he really feel? Because this love of his life, the true one that got away, is waiting
mhm.
for him back on Talos 4, Talos 3, Talos 4,
Yeah, tell us more. You got it right.
Talos 4. Yeah, and yeah, all right. So maybe we weren't supposed to be worried about the captain the whole time, anyways. Let her turn into iguana. I don't care. Fuck
Aw.
it.
That's that has a sad for Captain Patel. Actually, I really like the character of Captain Patel a lot.
Yeah,
And you like the actress, and I like the actress, and I
I I
finished
I
I
love
finished
Mr.
finished up Peaky
Great.
Blinders, by the way. So
Yeah.
I've actually stopped at the last episode because they've now said that, oh, we're going to actually produce more TV shows in the Peaky Blinders, and we're going to actually have a follow up for it. We're going to have a sequel besides the movie. They've actually
Was
said
she
that,
in Peaky Blinders?
huh?
Was that actor? Was she in Peaky Blinders?
I thought you said she was. I thought
Not
I
that I'm
don't
aware.
remember.
I don't know.
Uh,
I'm finding out. You keep talking. I'm gonna find out.
so anyway, but yeah, I really liked her as Captain Patel. I thought she actually did a good job bringing the character forward from where she started, and was more than just a two-dimensional. Hey, I'm your girlfriend figure, which
Oh
often
yeah.
is the case. Uh,
Don't get me wrong. I absolutely. It's just once if you've actually watched it in order of showing, all right, and that's
mhm,
my problem is I watched Strange New Worlds before I watched Discovery because I couldn't
mhm,
stomach it. All right.
mhm,
Um, I did not. I did not know that she I did not know that there was that whole, Talos 4 thing going
Mhm.
on. All right. And then you have the captain. And it just, in my opinion, as if you actually watch it in order, there is no reason for you to care one iota about Captain Batel, because you know that she is completely superfluous due to his love affair of Talos chick.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Vina. Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
see. No, she was in Wynonna Earp.
Okay.
Yeah,
Who
she
was
was
who
not
was
in.
Miss
Yeah, not
Who was Miss Murray? Mrs. Murray. I thought
Mrs.
that was
McMurray.
yeah. Who was that?
Her name is Melanie Scrofano.
Okay.
Oh, she's got 2 kids too. That's nice.
So, do you want to reel back to Star Trek United, or do we want to continue on with Discovery for the
Well,
moment?
you said you had something about Star Trek United that you liked.
Yeah, actually, this is something I'm really relishing. Is that apparently Andy Probert, the guy who designed or helped design, redesign the Enterprise from Star Trek the Motion Picture, and also designed the Enterprise D for Star Trek Next Generation. He is
Okay,
one of the people working on Star Trek United. Uh, so I'm actually pretty pumped about that. I I
that would
I
be
would say
interesting.
I'm super elated about that because I'd love to have the old school look of stuff done by somebody who I think can do the old school look and actually develop things that make sense. Because I like Andy's work has been one of the things I've actually. I'm not going to say he can't do no wrong, but I will say when I find what I find is enjoyable about Andy's work is he takes the time to think it out and design things where essentially it makes sense to me where he comes from. He basically takes an idea. I need to have a freighter. What do I need to have as a freighter? Well, I need a lot of big cargo modules. Well, I'll stick the cargo modules here and stick the warp drive here. You sort of figure it out mechanically and design something that makes sense instead of going, well, we'll just cram these things into this thing and like,
Yeah.
oh.
Well,
So Andy does the
design the
job
whole
that
cluster
he
section
does a
like a
job that I like.
frisbee that rotates around itself. Yeah. I mean, whoever designed that had a childhood fascination with tilt-a-whirls. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Everybody hurt now.
Yeah.
Black alert.
I mean, if they wanted to impress me, they'd have all of the. I mean, apparently they have room for it. If you watch the turbo lifts move, they would have all of the corridors gimbaled, so when they started spinning, they would all swing out. All right, so everybody would stay, with feet down with centripetal force. I'm just saying. I mean, you got the room. Trust me, we've seen the turbo lifts move. You
so,
got the
so,
room.
so we need a little Harry Potter moment where the corridors are moving, reattached.
All right. And it's just now coming up in, like I said, season 4 of Discovery. What are with these dots?
Oh,
All
little
right.
repair drones.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
little repair, all of a sudden we got drones.
yeah.
All right. We got droids. All right.
I think that's because of Picard. Because I think I may be wrong. I could be completely wrong on the timeline. I think Picard got drones, and then they sort of went, wait, if Picard has drones, we should have drones too, because we have drones in the 21st century. And so they went drone happy, because at that point it was like, where have our drones been our entire life? You know, that actually kind of makes sense, and I'm not saying it's correct, but it kind of makes sense because one of the things that I've thought about in Star Trek, especially with Star Trek Two, is when they were repairing the Enterprise in Star Trek Two after the combat damage, they don't really have anybody on the outside of the ship fixing it. And they're not putting any plates onto the outer hull. It's just done. We just patched it up already, and we're going where we're going. So that actually kind of makes sense, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I have nothing. I have
Yeah.
no explanation how suddenly drones are in Star Trek. They weren't there before, but now they
I
are.
mean, yeah, droids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying that's my problem. That's my problem. There's a difference between drones and droids, and they're
Mhm.
straight up turning these dots into droids.
They are.
I mean, I was because my speakers in here aren't the best, and so I watch a lot of it as I'm doing stuff with the closed caption on.
Mhm.
And at one point, they when they're stuck in the nothing, they send a dot out. Which why the hell have they not been using probes and all kinds of stuff as much as they can? Anyway, they
Yeah.
send the dot out. See how far it goes. Why not just send a freaking probe? But anyways, send this dot out, and it goes out, and then as it's falling apart, it even says in the closed caption, "Pathetic whirring." All right, it's making noise as if it's having pain
Mhm.
as it's falling apart. They have droids. All right,
Yeah.
these are
It,
straight
it
up.
ma-
Yeah,
it makes an R2 like sound, if you remember the Phantom Menace where where the R2s get killed,
yeah,
and they're like, it makes
yeah,
a little sound as it's like hits the wall, and it's like,
yeah.
oh,
It's
it,
it, it
it just
yeah.
is weird.
It is. I mean, and that's the thing is I know that here soon we're going to be
Mhm.
having droids anyways in our reality. All right,
Yeah.
and it's often been said that what science fiction is what we think it's going to be. All right,
Hmm.
and that's the reason as time has gone on, what our representation of what the future vessels will be has changed,
Hmm.
and that's the reason that the NX-01 inside looks so much more high tech than the Connie, because
Hmm.
our perception of what the future is has
Hmm.
changed from 1960s to the early 2000s to now. And
Right.
they've already got I've been watching videos where people are now getting their robots in the mail,
Hmm.
full on, hooked up to AI robots. And I
Hmm.
also know that what is it, Arduino? You know Arduino,
Hmm.
right? The
Yeah.
boards. Arduino has just come out with a new board. All
Hmm.
right, when they were discussing their takeover by Qualcomm. What's that? Was it Qualcomm? I think it was Qualcomm.
Yeah. It's
Bought
called.
them out. They also said, "Oh, by the way, we also have this new board. I think it was like the Arduino Uno Q. I think it was
Hmm.
called." All right, and the thing about this is this board can run a one of the some of the smaller standalone AI,
Hmm.
large language models, not the full chat GTP, but some of the smaller ones can run
Hmm.
on the board. So you have AI on a board that plugs right into your stuff. It's $40 for the board. All right, I'm telling you, droids. By
I
this
really
time,
do think we're heading there.
this is my 5-year prediction. My 5-year prediction is that we are going to start having droids.
I think you're totally right. I think it's going to get to a point. There's a video I saw where they had like internet in a box. Essentially, what they had this idea was for like people who don't live in an area where they have internet, generally speaking,
Mhm.
they can put together a essentially Arduino board, and it's internet in a box, and it uses the technology you're talking about. And you put all whatever files you want on there, so they can have like university files or whatever, and you
Yeah.
just plug it in, and it can create a limited network, and you can, you know, network it
Mhm.
out. People can connect to it, and then have, ooh, I have internet access, and I can do my schoolwork with internet in a box. But what the thought I had was, these are very small. They're like about that thick, about that long, I think, and that
Mhm.
wide. Um, you're getting into the technology realm of, when we get to solid state molecular blocks, they'll be even smaller. They'll probably be like this. They're probably thicker than that, I imagine. And they'll be plug in almost like USB drives. And so you can put all the stuff on the USB drive, essentially, for all intents and purposes, if you want to think of it. Plug it in, and suddenly you have a different droid. So the droid could be like R2, plug in a different thing. Oh, I need an industrial automech to go ahead and work on my car. Plug in the chip. Suddenly it becomes a whiz on working on your car. Take that one out. I need somebody to make me supper tonight. Plug in this other one, or just keep them in.
It's going to be Neo. You plug in the thing, and it's going to be able to say, "I know kung fu." All right?
Oh yeah, and people are like, "That'll never happen." I'm like, "Really?
No,
I mean, this
it will.
is not that hard. I mean, this is
Well,
this is where we've been heading for over 50 years. I mean, this is the technology. This from starting point A when we developed the EEPROM chip to here is where it was logically heading. I mean, this is not hard to figure out. I mean, if you just sort of put the steps in order, that's where it was going in the first place.
Yeah.
So I think people, and I'm going to put this out there for the audience, you really need to learn AI, folks, because if you don't, you're in bad shape.
I've been saying that for years now.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job to somebody who knows how to use AI.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I tell you, as soon as they come out with one of those robots that can realistically, do my laundry, all right, and clean the house, we're gonna have one. Yep.
I will say one thing off of everything we've talked about right now, and I'm going to say as a plug for what cool science thing you found out this week. Germany went, hey, you know what? You got a problem with your cartilage and your joints? We're going to replace that for you. I'm absolutely like, cool. I like that. That's really nice. I'm
really
looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Because I really don't like the idea of having somebody going, well, what we're going to do is we're going to take out your cartilage. We're going to stick this joint that we built, stick it in your knee, and then cover it back up and hope everything's okay. No.
No. I haven't been following that much this week. I've been sick as a dog, so I can't say much. Although I did have fun today at the model show, so that was kind of fun.
I was going to ask you, whenever you go to the model show, if you ever find like a cheap ass battleship, like just spare parts battleship, like
go to Ollie's. They have several of them for like $12 in the model section.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I need something bigger than a destroyer, because the destroyer has a lot of nice stuff on it, but I really want the battleship has like all the cannons and whatnot on it.
Go to Ollie's. They have the last time I went like a month or so ago, because I always go and check, because for a while there they had some Star Trek models, and I was like, you're grabbing those fuckers. But the problem is, of course, is, I have empathy, so I would never grab all of them.
Right.
All right. I would always leave some. I was like, I can't take all of them. Other people will want some, and that is hosed myself on having a lot of models for a very cheap price, because for a while there, when Walmart was getting rid of them, I was picking up like the NX-01. I was picking those up for like $7 a pop.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I have 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 of them. I made one as my first attempt, one as a refit, one as the Mirror Universe, one as lit, one as with the Aztecing. And I still have another one up there that I'm going to do with instead of using the decals for the Aztecing, I'm going to actually use masks and do the Aztecing with masks on it. And yeah, I got a lot of models. I got to get to work. Oh, dude, check it. I finally got in the mail the WS 2812 Bravo individually addressable LEDs. They make one that is a ring one with 7 LEDs. This is going to be I got to shave it down a little bit like that. But on the 1650 Enterprise, this will I just shape it just a little bit. It's like almost like a millimeter too wide. once I shave it down the edges, it'll fit right into that cap on the end where the Bussards are. And I'll be able to use this in order to create the rotating Bussard effect.
Nice.
And
Very
these things
nice.
literally are like $2-3 a pop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That actually makes me really want to. Well, we've talked about it before. I really need to get into 3D printing, but the other thing is I really want to do is I need to work on Blender. I still need to keep doing my classes between everything else I'm doing. But what I'd really like to do is essentially, I would like to have a full build out 350 of the design for the Beowulf, because I think it'd be nice to have on this, for a display unit. So
that I mean, totally. I mean, I know. God, there are on Kickstarter. There was a guy that I was following. That if you, or was it Kickstarter or Patreon? It's Patreon. And I was just following for a bit, but then I couldn't figure out how his whole, I contributed at his lowest level, where I was supposed to be able to get like a model or two a month. And, but then I couldn't figure out his whole process of, this is how you download the model. And so then I said, screw you, I'm not giving you any more money because it's too difficult and I'm a simple child. But he, is constantly. I will see if I can find him on Patreon. It should be in my history of who I have supported, and he's constantly making models of different ones. And maybe he might have made the Beowulf. I don't know. I mean, he does a whole lot of stuff, like a lot of FASA stuff and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, we'll check it out. The other thing I'd like to do is
learning Blender is good. I mean, I've never
Yeah.
done it. I can't. I tried. I'm not very good.
well, the thing mainly is just sitting down and having the time to do it, but also not. Once I have the new computer, then I'll be like, okay, let's try this again. Because one of the things is trying to load things and trying to do it at the same time is the videos like sitting there jumping around is like,
Oh yeah.
it's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
But anyway, what was I going to say? Because we need to talk about what we're doing with.
Mojo's, I think it was Captain Mojo's Shipyards. We need to talk about
Okay.
what.
Are we having Boldly Trekking next weekend? Because we're having. Aren't we having the convention TsunamiCon?
Yeah. No, next weekend is going to be TsunamiCon,
Right.
and I need to concentrate on that.
Yeah, I figured that's what you were going to be doing, and I figured with that you're going to be occupied. So I thought we might mention that to our viewing audience, whoever they may be, to go ahead and let them know there will not be another episode next week. So you can enjoy this one in all of its glory.
Or the other one was Floor Trek. I'll find out.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we won't be doing next week. Matter of fact, I need to get off my butt, break out all the literature, and refresh myself on this. Although, let me check on TsunamiCon to see if anybody's even signed up to play the game.
And this is for your Prime Directive game that you were working on?
No. This is just Star Trek Into the Unknown.
Okay, all right. Because I'm actually working on the blue, well, not the blues, but the deck plans for your Prime Directive game.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, no one has signed up. Available 5 out of 5 seats.
Well,
yeah,
I might be available.
I say it might be one of those instances where I'm playing with myself, and
you got a pretty mouth, boy.
I do. Just lightly grazed. That's what I'm talking about. No, it's the Star Trek Into the Unknown, which in my opinion is just a poor name for it, and I'm still waiting because the first sequel, I guess you want to call it, the first iteration of new ships was supposed to have come out in the last couple months, and I'm still waiting to get mine. And it has a Reliant in it, and it's got Klingons, basically what it is. It's got Klingons.
Well, if they're as detailed as the other models, that should be really nice. I know that you'll like that. And
oh yeah,
it could be the whole tariff thing which is going on. I know, like Master Replicas, little Master Replicas, had talked about having the TOS Enterprise full size plaque, because I bought one because it's
right.
to go with my 1-350. I mean, not getting the full size plaque to go with the ship seemed like a failure failure on my part of imagination if I didn't get it. So I went ahead and bought it, and they said originally, oh well, it should be around late July. Well, late July. Yeah.
Yeah,
Still
exactly.
haven't seen it. Still don't have it yet.
Yeah.
So.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Yes, dear.
Do you want to run and get some dinner for us? We want some Chinese food.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, Sean.
Hello.
Jessica said hi.
I waved back. Hello.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a booger bear of a day for all of us. We're all completely wiped. No, the Rising Tensions expansion pack, of course, has another Defiant in it. It's got a Reliant, a Bird of Prey, and a Vorcha. So, and of course, it's going to have, and that's one of the things for those who have not played Into the Unknown. It's all based around the missions. So this isn't just a standard, run in with the ships and beat each other up, which was Attack Wing. Yeah. This one, you can come in guns blazing and still lose just because you didn't score enough of the actual points on what your, what your objectives were.
I still find it very ironic that the game we played, like, hey, is there Romulans inside your Romulan battle cruiser, or are those Romulan, or is it Romulan battle cruisers inside your Romulans? Let's find out.
No, that was Attack Wing.
Oh, that was Attack Wing. I thought we played this other one that had the missions.
We did, but the other one that you're talking about, where I had that cascade, and and everything.
I thought that was because
there are no Romulans in the Into the Unknown yet. They don't have any expansion Romulans yet.
Okay. I've slept since then, obviously. So.
Oh yeah. But anyways, we've been going for about an hour and a half, dude.
Yeah, I figured we need to wrap it up. So so let me see. So this next weekend we're not gonna have a podcast. The following weekend, is there anything going on that we're aware of? Because I don't. The meeting is actually on the second weekend of the month.
Yeah,
for November.
Pull up my calendar really quick and see. Yeah, no, I don't have anything except for let me see. Gannon has cross country in the morning at Rimrock, which is all the way up in Lawrence, I believe, or wherever the heck Rimrock is.
Let me check something real quick.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, that's up in Lawrence.
Give me a moment here. All right, let's just double check. All right. Okay. That's right, because the Air Capital Comic Con occurs on the same weekend as um, the Jeanette Maddox meeting,
Yeah, let me see here. That's November.
the 7th
Yep,
and 8th.
7th and 8th. And yeah, see, that's the thing is the Star Trek fan club meets at 6, and Air Capital does not end until 6. So there's not
Yeah.
even an opportunity to scoot on over.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even sure that everybody'd feel like doing it after being there all day. So
Yeah.
be kind of.
Which reminds me, I need to get off my butt and start printing some more card kits. I've got 3 printers sitting quiet right now. I should actually kick them into gear. Although I did promise to somebody that I'm going to be making them one of those med kits.
Was that a certain person whose father is named or is the father of Thomas?
Nope.
Oh.
No, that's the thing is, the young Padawan, he's got his own 3D printer. He's got a really good 3D printer, and there's no reason he can't make his own.
Okay. So
Yeah.
is this person known as the Cobb? Is this Cobb is the chief of the boat? Alan?
Well, it might be, which I doubt they're going to watch this. I might have been talking just a little bit to Christine and told her that if she wanted, I could put one together and sell it to her cheap, and that could be a good present for Alan from her. Yeah. Because he was literally ready to give me his nice messenger bag in exchange for that.
I am going to let you know that if you didn't see it, I imagine you did. Master Replicas decided to go ahead and reproduce the Diamond Select Toys version of the original series phaser and communicator. So
yeah, how much are those going for?
$39 a piece.
Ooh, because without once I get the phaser, I got my away kit. That's what I'm missing for my away kit.
I think the only thing that is not as like the original release is that the grid on the communicator I think is plastic on this one.
Well, no, I don't want the communicator. I just want the phaser.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Just want to make sure you knew. So
now, if I could get the phaser, I remember when I was a little kid playing with other kids, I would play with them. Just I was poor; they had toys, so I played with them. And I remember someone had a Star Trek phaser. All right, I believe it was billed as Star Trek, but it really didn't look Star Trek. But it shot little discs out, and you top loaded discs into it, and it would fling these little discs out.
Yeah, actually, it was billed as Star Trek. It's one of these nascent design elements where they go, "Hey, we designed this to look kind of like a phaser if you're blind." It's very chunky, has like a little bit of handle, and it has like the little things that he's talking about are like maybe that big, like the size of a quarter, and they're red. I think they're mostly red. I think there were a few that were maybe blue or yellow. But anyway, you can basically put it on the front and shoot people, and they phaser blast.
Basically, they're
dead.
Hold on, I will share this. It just looks like it's a pistol. It looks like a pistol, and it's this one right here. Yep,
it's a little different than the one I was talking about, but it's probably made by the same company.
Star Trek jet discs. Yep, it was completely nothing whatsoever. They also had, if you remember correctly, they had not them, but at that time period, they had the Star Trek Spock helmet with the flashing light on top.
Actually, I still think that would make an awesome, like, weird parallel universe thing to have, the Spock helmet on somebody in a show. Yeah.
That would be
I
funny.
would die. I would die laughing. I would
That
probably
would
will.
be hilarious. That, and if they
Um,
actually brought out the Kazin, all right, that would be great if they actually brought out the Kazenti.
Yeah. So Larry Niven, go ahead and authorize
Yeah.
it, please.
All I'm saying is Star Trek United. We can do it.
Yeah.
All right.
I would be all for it. I'd love to see the Kazenti. I'd love to see the Kazenti get their ass handed to them by the Earth Federation. They're like, hey, we're gonna eat you, and then eyes are sad for the Kazenti. And then we're gonna do it. We're gonna take you on again.
I remember reading, back in the 80s and 90s, the Kazenti books. All right, and never realizing it was a Star Trek thing. Never realizing.
The known universe and the Star Trek universe are not really connected directly, but Star Trek borrows a lot of it.
Yeah, but I remember one of the lines from it is the reasons the monkeys stopped doing war is because they got too good at it. Yeah,
we got bored with it. We had all the fun we wanted.
Yeah,
I actually did like
where if we kept doing it, we would all die, so we had to stop.
I did like that they, in some of the Kazenti books, they came up with this preacher called Kadapt. And what he basically preached was that the Kazenti god had given up on them and more or less and had favored the monkeys. So, all hail the monkeys, essentially we will learn from the monkeys and adapt, our technology to use monkey technology. And so Kadaptist practices were frowned upon, but essentially sort of got won over in the patriarchy. And I actually did borrow that concept whenever I designed some stuff. I was like, well, we don't really like these humans and we don't like their stinking warp drive, but hey, it goes faster than ours. So we're going to go ahead and steal that and jam it onto our ships. And they'll be like, hey, we got warp drive now.
little Bruce Lee, Jet Kundo. All right. Borrow everything that works.
It's Russian. I tell you, it's how the Russians do it. It's like, hey, this thing called a nuclear reactor, how does it work? Well, we'll stick some graphite rods in it. It'll be okay.
No, the way the Russians did it is the same way the Americans did it. How does it work? I don't know. We shove Jewish scientists at it and we get it to work. And that's how they got it to work.
Well, Chernobyl tells a story about how not to build a nuclear reactor.
That was later on. That was later on. All right.
Yeah, I mean, there's this thing called control rods. They shouldn't be made out of something that's flammable. Just saying.
Yeah. You live, you learn, you glow in the dark. It's all good. All right. Let's go ahead and tie this up.
All right. Well, tonight, you all have a good one. Good night, John Boy.
Yeah. We'll chat later, dude.